Hello my dear students, welcome back. What a joy to see you back. Well my dear students, in this sub-lesson we're going to learn about circumference, okay? We want to understand and use the concept of circumference, okay? Now what is circumference, alright? Now first, in order to draw a circle, what do you need? You need a center, alright, the center point, and also you need a radius, alright, so very important, okay? So now let's say for example Mr. Mac take a radius, okay, and I measure it and I put it, I took these compasses, I put it the sharp point, the needle on the 0, and then I put it the 3, okay, the radius gives me 3, alright, 3 centimeters. So I position on the center of the circle and then I draw a circle. See that? Now this is what we call circumference, alright? It's kind of like a perimeter for a square or rectangle or triangle. When you find a perimeter, now for circle you don't call that perimeter, you call that circumference, okay? In other words, pretty much, let's say this time you have a house in the middle, alright, right here, and you want to fence around the house, but you want the fence to look circle. See that? So in other words, you need to know a starting point. Let's say this is your starting point A, and then you go all the way around and back where you started, and you call that circumference, alright? Not a perimeter. Perimeter, if you to, let's say if this is a house and you want to fence it and you want to put it in a rectangle form or square or triangle, alright, and that you want to find the perimeter from starting A to B to C to D and back where you started. Now for circle, to find the length surrounding, you call that circumference, alright? So you actually are looking for how long a fence you'll need it to fence around your house, and you want it in the shape of a circle, and you call that what again? Circumference, alright? Circumference, alright? Okay, that's what you're looking for. In this one, we use the word perimeter. Now, there is a formula to find a circumference. The formula is, we're going to put C for circumference equals to 2 pi r, alright? Now this pi has a value to it, it's already defined, so you don't have to worry about it, alright? That value is 22 over 7 or 3.142. You can use either one of them, alright? Okay, so 22 over 7 or 3.142. Now the r here is the radius, okay? Now this is the formula for the circumference, right? C equals to 2 pi r. Now if I give you the radius, you should able to substitute for the r and find the circumference. So in other words, to find the circumference for a circle, all you needed is the radius of that circle. Now what happened if I give you diameter? Doesn't matter, because 2 radius makes what? 1 diameter. Now look at this. If I had to rewrite, so let's say 2 pi r. Now if I had to say pi 2r right there, can I substitute the 2r with d? Exactly. See that? So in other words, circumference can also be said pi d, the diameter. If you have a diameter, you take the pi times it with the diameter. If I give you the radius, 2 pi r. Okay, so what was the radius of this circle? Was 3 centimeters, okay? So if I want to find the circumference for this circle, alright, so let's say this, let's mark it up, okay, let's put the line, and this is the radius, okay, and it was given 3 centimeters, and I want to find the circumference of this circle. So we know that C equals to 2 pi r, 2, and then pi is what? 22 over 7 times r is 3. See that? So now you get a fraction and you make all this fraction also. Okay, so you got 2 over 1 times 22 over 7 times 3 over 1. So we're just going to multiply, alright? Okay, we're just going to multiply like this. We're using a double arrow method. So 2 times 22 times 3. Now you can do like this, 2 times 3 times 22. See that? Whenever you multiply A times B times C, you can times A times B times C, or A times C times B. See that? Or C times A times B. See, any combination, as long as they all are multiplying, alright, you can move around. So it's the reason why you want to do that is easier. Times 2 times 3 is what? 6. 6 times 22. So I'm going to take 22 times 6 and line it up. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 carry 1. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13. So that gives me 132 over 7 centimeters. You can leave it the answer like this. All right? Okay, so when it comes to circumference, when you're dealing with pi, this is allowable. If they say no calculator, if they say no calculator, they will give you the multiply choices in a form of 132 over 7 centimeters. Now see if you can reduce it. If you cannot reduce it, leave it the way it is. All right, pretty easy, isn't it? Straightforward. Okay, good. So that means I can give you, let's say for example, the Mac to tell you, okay, find circumference. All right, okay, circumference, all right, make sure Mr. Mac spelling it right. All right, okay, circumference, find circumference of a circle with a diameter of, let's say, 5 centimeters. All right, now let's do this. Let's make it interesting. 7 centimeters. All right, so find circumference of a circle with a diameter of 7 centimeters. All right, so what's the formula? First, we know that our general formula is what? C equals to 2 pi r, the radius, but a given diameter. Okay, so we know that, which is also pi times 2r. The 2r makes 1 diameter. That means I can substitute this 2r with 7 centimeters. And what's pi? 22 over 7. See that? Now I can make this into fractions. 7 over 7, 1. Now can I simplify between this 7 and this 7? Yes, I can cancel that. Because this one can divide by 7, give me 1. Divide by 7, give me 1. See that? So now I can use the double arrow method. 22 times 1 is 22. 1 times 1 is 1 centimeter. That means 22 centimeters. See that? Now remember the unit centimeter. Alright? I'm using, if it's a meter or kilometer, when I find the circumference of a circle. Because I'm finding the length. See that? The unit is only centimeters or meters or kilometers. Later we're going to see when you want to find an area, the unit will be different. Alright? The power. Alright? So, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay? So right now just concentrate. When you're finding the circumference, you're finding the length. The length is being measured in a form of centimeters unit. Alright? Or kilometers, meters, things like that. Okay? Good. So now you understand what a circumference is. Okay? Now let's say if I give you a problem this time, I told you the circumference and ask you to find the diameter or the radius. You should be able to do that. Alright? Let Mr. Mac erase the board and let's talk about the reverse. This time I give you the circumference and I want you to find the radius, also finding the diameter. And I'll be back in a few seconds. Right, my dear students, Mr. Mac got 2 circles drawn on the board. The first circle, I want to find the radius when I give you the circumference is 88 over 7 centimeters. Alright, how do we do that? Now, what is circumference? Let's see if I just break a point right here and the length. Pretty much you're measuring the length surrounding the circle and back where we started, and that is 88 over 7 centimeters. Now I want to find out what is the radius. Okay, so let's say I don't have a straight edge to measure. I want to find out what is the radius. You want to find the radius. Okay, the radius is the unknown. Okay, so first write down the formula. What is the formula? Formula is C equals to 2 pi r. And what are you looking for? We're looking for r. See that? So if you're looking for r, that means what I have to do? I have to isolate r. That means I have to move everything surrounding r to the across the bridge, alright? The other side of the bridge, okay? So that means I can move the 2 across, the pi across. Pretty much 2 pi. I'm taking the 2 pi across, alright? And what is 2 pi is doing to r? It's multiplying. So multiplication across the bridge becomes what? Division. That's right. C over 2 pi. So see that? We got C over 2 pi O equals to r. Now, I can rewrite this as r equals to C over 2 pi, which is also means r equals to c, what is this, divide 2 pi, right, like that, right there. Okay, so we're going to keep it that way. Now we're going to substitute. We know c is what, 88 over 7. Alright, so we're going to substitute for c, 88 over 7 divided by, now what, and we know this is 2, and multiplying that with pi. And what is pi? 22 over 7. 22 over 7. Alright? Okay, so let's do that. Now first, solve this 2 first. Multiply 2 times 22 over 7. Alright, we're going to solve this first. Alright, so that makes it what? 44 over 7. Divided, and then put a division, and then put the 88 over 7. Now from our division, okay, or the fraction, when you divide, what do you do to this fraction? Alright, you use the knob method. Alright, we learned from our fraction, okay, lesson. When you have a division, you convert this division into multiplication. That means I'm turning this, make it into multiplication. This one flips. Alright, let Mr. Mac rewrite that. So R equals to 88 over 7 divided by 44 over 7. I'm going to turn this into times. When I turn this into times, this one reciprocal, in other words flips, so it becomes 7 over 44. Okay, and this one is 88 over 7. Nothing changes to this, keep the same. Alright, now you can simplify. I can simplify this divided by 7. I can divide this by 7. That gives me, this is 1, 1 right there. See, whenever you have the same numbers like that, rather than doing like this, you just cancel it. 1, 1, just put right there. Alright, rather than saying 7 divided by 7 is 1, 7 divided by 7 is 1. Okay, that make it quicker. Now look at this, 88 and 44. Can you see that? I can divide 44 with 44. I can divide 88 with 44. That means pretty much 1 and 2. Does that make sense? Okay, because 88 divided by 44, that means there's 244 inside 88. There's 144 inside that 44. See that? Okay, now I use the double arrow method. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1, which makes it 2. And we're using the what unit? Centimeters. So R equals to 2 centimeters. So the radius from the point here to the circle is 2 centimeters. Does that make sense? Please, isn't it? Alright. Okay, good. Okay, now let's go to the find the diameter. Alright. So we know that the formula is what? C equals to 2 pi R. And we also know that it means pi 2R. I can substitute that with D. Okay, that means C equals to pi D. And I'm looking for diameter. That means pi got to go. And what's pi doing to D? It's multiplying. Multiplication across the bridge becomes division. So that becomes C over pi equals to diameters. Okay, that means diameters equals to C divided by pi. See that? You use the arrow down method. C divided by pi. Now some of the terms, like for example the arrow down method, alright, the turn the knob method, things that I taught in Form 1, alright. So that's why Mr. Bank always encourage you that when you want to continue with Form 2, you need to know what's going on Form 1, because everything is built on top of Form 1, alright. Okay, keep in mind. So when I said arrow down, we're reading exactly, it says C over is division pi. See that? C divided by pi. That's why I'm using the arrow down method. Okay, so now we know what C is 66 over 7. Let's substitute 66 over 7. And what's pi? 22 over 7. See that? And we're looking for D. Alright, so first look at that division. We're going to division turns into multiplication. Alright, whenever you divide two fractions, you change the division to multiplication. That means this will become reciprocal. It turns like another line, knob. When you turn the knob, this one also turns. Okay, becomes 7 over 22. And this one you rewrite as 66 over 7. Look at that, 7 and 7 I can cancel. 1, 1. 66 and 22. Look at that. If this one, and look at these two numbers right there. Can I say 322 inside 66? Because 22 times 3 gives me 66. See that? So 22 times 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 2 is 6. That means I can cancel this to 3 and 1, because 66 divided by 22 is 3, 22 divided by 22 is 1. See that? Now I can use the double arrow method. 3 times 1 is 3, 1 times 1 is 1, which is 3. And the diameter is using what unit? Centimeters. So we're going to put centimeters. So the diameter of this circle is 3 centimeters. So if I were to take a straight edge, okay, drop the straight edge, okay, Mr. Mac to put it through the center of the circle, and then touching the circle of that, okay, and that's the diameter, which is what? 3 centimeters. Okay, so if I take this measurement and then measure it, yes, right there, 3 centimeters. Okay, and this one is, let's see, 2, yep, that's 2 centimeters. See that? Pretty easy, isn't it? Straightforward, alright? Alright, good. Well, that tells you it's time for hands-on practice. Alright, my dear student, let Mr. Mac erase the board and let's see what Pablo's doing. He's been so quiet. He's busy putting those hands on practice. Alright, my dear student, let Mr. Mac erase the board and then I'll be back in a few seconds and we'll call Pablo out. Alright? I'll see you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, are you ready for some hands-on practice? Alright, let's call Pablo, alright? Pablo, come on over, Pablo. Bring the worksheet with you. There he is. Alright, my dear students, let's have fun, alright? Okay, make sure you pause the video once you get the worksheet from Pablo, and then come back, invite Mr. Mac in so we can work together. Here it is, have fun. How was it? Pretty easy, isn't it? Alright, let's do it together, okay? Alright, let's do the first one. The first one says, find the circumference of a circle. And then they give you radius, alright? So we're going to find the circumference, alright? A, you're given the radius is what? 7 centimeters. And they want you to use pi, okay? Pi 22 over 7, alright? So they want it in the form of 22 over 7. So first, when I'm looking for circumference, I need to know the formula. What is the formula for circumference? C equals to 2 pi r. And r is what? The radius. Pi is the 22 over 7. Just substitute, alright? So we can put 2 times pi is 22 over 7 times r is 7, right there. And then since this is in fraction, let's put all this in a form of fraction. 2 over 1 times 22 over 7 times 7 over 1. Now, can I simplify? Yes, the 7 and 7 can be simplified. Cancelled out 1 and 1. See that? So now I can use the arrow method, double arrow method. So 2 times 22 times 1, which is 44. 1 times 1 times 1 is over 1, which is 44. Exactly, centimeters, alright? The unit centimeters. Okay, good. Pretty easy, isn't it? Straightforward, alright? Alright, okay, B. B, you're given the diameter. Okay, diameter is what? You're given 4 centimeters and ask you to use the pi 3.142 value, alright? Which is pretty much the same. This is in a form of fraction, this is in a form of decimal, alright? So, again, what's our method again? First, we can write out the formula. What's the formula? C equals to 2 pi r. Just put the general formula first. And then you know that 2r is what? Also d, which is pi times the diameter, alright? And you know the pi is what? 3.142, and you're going to multiply that with 4 centimeters, the diameter, 4. Okay, so you got 3.142 times 4. Alright, so we got decimal, we are multiplying with a round number. Now when you decimal multiply with a decimal, and I want you to use this, forget now, remember later method. But if you have a decimal with a round number, okay, you don't have to do that. You can just go ahead and do this way. The way it is, you put 3.142 and you multiply that with 4. See that? You line it up. Alright, so 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 4 is 16, 6 carry 1, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. See the decimal right there? You bring it straight down. 4 times 3 is 12, right there. You can do that. if this is a decimal, then yes, you have to use forget now, remember later. Now you still can apply the same principle on this too, nothing wrong with it. Forget now, remember later. Let's say we forget about the decimal, okay? So we put 3142 times 4, alright? So we just forget about that decimal, alright? So we're just going to multiply. 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 4 is 16, 6 carry 1, 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and then 4 times 3 is 12. Now we got to remember back the decimal. How many numbers behind the decimal? 1, 2, 3. That means I'm going to put it back 1, 2, 3 right there. See that? Same thing. It works, okay, in both ways. But the things I want you to remember is, if this both are decimal, you have to use forget now, remember later method. Alright? Okay, good. So we found the circumference is 12.568 centimeter. Okay, very important. Make sure you put that unit. All right, okay, and that's pretty much like measuring the length. All right, so centimeter. Okay, good. All right, good. Let Mr. Mike erase the board and we'll do problem number 2, and I'll be back in a few seconds. Alright, my dear student, now this time they said given the circumference of a circle is 110 over 7 centimeters, okay? Find A, radius, and B, diameter. So we want to find the radius and the diameter. This time they gave you the circumference. We want to find the radius and also the diameter, okay? So let's do that, okay? Problem number 2. So 2, you're given the C, which is the circumference, is what? 110 over 7 centimeters. And he also told use pi 22 over 7. So we're going to use that value, all right? 22 over 7. Okay, so now let's start with the A. A, they want us to find the radius. Okay, we want to find the radius, all right? Again, the first step ought to be put down the formula, write down. Okay, always start with the formulas. C equals to 2 pi r. And you're looking for radius. That means I'm going to isolate r. That means 2 pi got to go, alright? So cross the bridge. And what's 2 pi is doing to r? It's multiplying. Multiplication cross the division becomes division, okay? So 2 pi equals to r, which is also means r equals to c over 2 pi. Now, if we use the arrow down method, we can read this exactly. Say c divided by 2 pi. Okay, leave it that way, alright? Okay, now let's substitute, alright? So we know c. C is what? 110 over 7. We're going to divide that with 2 times pi. Pi is what? 22 over 7. See that? So now this is pretty much like a bracket. Okay? So what's inside the bracket? You solve it first. 2 times 22 is what? 44 over 7. So we can divide. Alright? Right there. Alright? So we got 110 over 7 divided by 44 over 7, because we know that 2 times 22 is 44. Okay, 22 times 2, because we use this way, alright? Because we know this is over 1, and we use the double arrow method, alright? So 2 times 22. So 22 times 2, you line it up. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. See that? 44 over 7. Okay, now we got two fractions dividing. So when you have two fractions dividing, use the knob method. We're going to change this division into multiplication. Very important, all right? On the fraction, when you're dividing, you change the division into fraction multiplication. And this right there, only this one will reciprocal. It will turn. It will go upside down. 7 over 44. This one doesn't change. Stay the same. 110 over 7. All right? So now you got two fractions multiplying. Alright, okay, make sure that this one is flips over. Now, before I multiply, I want to see if I can simplify using the bow tie method. This way, this way, this way, and this way. Look like this way I can simplify. 7 and 7 can be divided by 7, because it means 1 and 1. How about 110 and 44? Well, you know that both are even numbers. Well, let's know if it's an even number, for sure we know it's going to be divisible by 2. So I'm going to divide this by 2, divide this by 2. 44 divided by 2, and you know that's going to be 22. Alright? How about 110 divided by 2? Well, let's use the long division method. 110 divided by 2. We're going to use the cage approach. 110 is kind of into the stomach. I'm going to put it inside the cage. 2 is kind of out. I'll put outside the cage. In 1, I cannot go to 11. In 11, there's how many 2? 5. And you know that 5 times 2 is 10. 1 minus 0 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay? And then bring the 0 down. In 10, there's how many 2? Exactly, 5, because 5 times 2 is 10, minus give me 0. So that makes this one 55. Okay, let me rewrite this. Okay, becomes 55 over 1 times 1 over 22. Now look at this, 55 and 22. What is the common number that 55 and 22 can be divided by? 11. I can divide this by 11, I can divide this by 11. Okay, 55 divided by 11 is what? 5. See that? 5 over 1 times 1 over 22 divided by 11. It's what? 22 divided by 11 is what? 2. Very good. Alright. So now I can use the double arrow method. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, which is 5 over 2, which is what? 5 divided by 2. Alright. So in other words, if I use the arrow down method, it's pretty much 5 divided by 2. Okay, so again we're going to use the long division method. Okay, so we're going to put the cage approach. 5 is kind of into Mr. Mac, I'm going to put inside the cage. 2 is kind of out, I'll put outside the cage. In 5 there's how many 2? 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. There is no number. Okay, but wait, if I put a decimal I can put a 0. That means if I put a decimal I can put a decimal right there, and then I can bring the 0 down. Now look, 10 there's how many 2? 5. So 5 times 2 is 10 minus 0. So that means, so 5 over 2 is also 2.5. 2.5, and since we're using what unit? Centimeters, okay? And the radius also going to be centimeters. So 2.5 centimeters. Alright, so we found the radius is what? 2.5 centimeters. Now can I find the diameter? Yes, why? Because we know that 2 radius makes what? 1 diameter. Okay, that means 2 times 2.5, which pretty much we don't, there 5. Okay, so 2.5 times 2, which give me 5. Alright, so that means the diameter is, so in other words, let's write down here, D equals to 5 centimeters. Pretty easy, isn't it? Alright, my dear student. Okay, let's do problem number 3, but how about we do that? Let Mr. Mac erase the board and we'll do problem number 3. I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, let's do problem number 3. Now, problem number 3 says ABC is a right angle triangle. Okay, so now Mr. Mac got the diagram right there. Okay, let's label that. Okay, so this is A, B and C. Okay, so a triangle. Alright, and then AC, this one AC is the diameter of this circle, semicircle. See, there's a semicircle, diameter of that. Alright, and then they said what? Find the perimeter of the figure below. So we're going to find the perimeter. Alright, now you said, well, Mr. Mac, why is that not circumference? Remember, circumference is for a complete circle. Alright, in this case, see that? You have a triangle attached to it, so there's no more circumference. You could consider this as a perimeter. Alright, so anything other than a circle, you call that perimeter when you're looking for the length surrounding it. Alright, okay, so the outers of that figure, outer length of the figure. Remember that, the term I'm saying, outer, that means to find the perimeter, I start from A, I go to B, C, and then the semicircle back to A. What about this one? No, doesn't include a part of the perimeter, only the outer of the object or the image, alright, or the figure here. Okay, well, then you say, well, how am I going to know this one? Okay, that's why we're going to find it. In order to find the perimeter of this figure right here, this shape, I need to know the A to B, which is given, B to C is given. What about C to A? I have to find that. But how am I going to find it? I don't know the diameter or the radius. I need to know the diameter, am I right? But not given. But look at this, I told you this is a right angle triangle. If I gave you this, and I don't know this, can I find that length? That's right, Pythagoras theorem. Okay, because we know that A squared plus B squared equals to C squared. Alright, so what is A? This is A. Okay, let's say this is B and this is C. And I know A, I know C, but I don't know B. Can I find B? Yes, so let's substitute. Okay, so A squared is 3, alright, 3 squared plus B squared, I don't know, and I know C is 5, so it'll be 5 squared So I'm looking for b, okay, b squared. So I'm going to isolate b. That means this got to go. 3 squared got to go. So b squared equals to 5 squared minus 3 squared. So 5 squared is what? 5 times 5, which is what? 25. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is what? 9. 25 minus 9 is exactly 16. Okay, that's b squared. I'm looking for b. That means I have to take a square root both sides. If I square this side, square that side. So b equals to 4. See that? That means b is 4 centimeters. Now I know the diameter of that semicircle. Okay, so now what do we do? Okay, we use the formula. The circumference formula is what? 2 pi r. Alright? But remember, this is a semicircle. Alright? That means we're going to divide this by what? By 2, because it's half of that circle. Alright? So let's do that. Alright? So we know that 2 pi r. Now, 2r is the diameter. That means 4 centimeters, okay? So we're going to say 4, okay, we're going to use pi what? 3.142. It's given 3.142. They want us to use that 3.142 over 2. Alright? Okay, so we know that 2r is the diameter. See that? So in other words, 2r pi. And that's the d. And we know that d is what? 4. That's why I substitute that 2r with 4. So 4 times 3.142 divided by 2. Why divided by 2? Because it's a half of the circle. See that? If this is a full circle, that's the full, the formula is C, circumference 2 pi r. If I cut it into half, that means I'm dividing it by 2. See that? Okay? So that's why I divide that by 2. Now look at this, 4 and 2 I can divide. So this becomes 1, this one becomes 2. So now I take 3.142 times it with 2. Alright? So I take 3.142 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 1 is 2, and then bring the decimal down, 2 times 3 is 6. So that gives me 6.284 centimeters. And I found the semicircle circumference is what? 6.284 centimeters. See that? And I find the total perimeter from A to B to C all the way to A. Yes. Okay, because I know the length is A to B is what? Okay, 5 centimeters plus 3 centimeters plus 6.284 centimeters. Right there. And that's the perimeter. Alright, so 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, so we're going to 8 plus 6.284. Alright, we're going to line it up. So we're going to put 6.284. We're going to line it up with 8. So we're going to bring this all down. 482, bring in the decimal. 6 plus 8 is 14. So the answer is, the perimeter is 14.284 centimeters. Pretty easy, isn't it? It's fun, isn't it? See how you use things that you learned from previous lesson, Pythagoras theorem, and then you found the length, and then you use that as a diameter to find the circumference for the semicircle here. That's the beauty about mathematics. And see that how everything is built on top of each other. That's why Mr. Mac strongly emphasized, be sure to understand every lesson before you go to the next lesson. Make sure you understand the things that you learned previous. That's how mathematics becomes easier. Once, when you don't understand the previous lesson, you want to rush to the next lesson, and it's going to be difficult because the previous lesson is going to help you with your new lesson. And your new lesson is going to help you for the future lesson. Alright? And that's why Mr. Mac strongly also emphasized that be sure you go back to your Form 1 and learn things that we learned on Form 1 level of mathematics. Alright? Alright, my dear student. This is so much fun, isn't it? Okay, good. Yeah, well, the moment we say so much fun, Pablo wanted to bring us more fun right there by saying it's time for quiz. That's right. It's time for quiz. There's more fun. Alright, my dear students. Let's take the Pablo's challenge and let's go and do the quiz, alright? And once you're done, come back see Mr. Mac on the next sub lesson, and I'll be here waiting for you. Bye-bye.